So I want to do a recap on the full week of training with Devon Larratt, give you guys some insight if you weren't able to practice with him from wherever you are in the world. But it was an incredible week of training. Devon trained every single day on the table. I got to say, by Thursday, pulling with him multiple days in a row, redlining with side pressure, my elbows were absolutely in excruciating pain on Thursday. I had to sit down in the corner and just hold my arms. I could barely bend my arms. And that pain, haven't had that pain since I pulled Eric Spoto maybe about 3 years ago, just trying as hard as I could to do something with that freak in probably 2021. So that was like the last time I remember that pain, other than the first year or so of arm wrestling, where your tendons are just not conditioned to the sport and everybody is able to control you basically just because they have stronger tendons. So, that's definitely a sign that you broke down the tendons in some way. But if anything, I'm happy that I have that feeling, because I believe it will come back stronger, with the right recovery, the right training, staying injury free, and, sleep, recover, protein, eat. That's really the thing. Take some time off, obviously. But I want to talk about, how does Devon recover from pulling every single day for 3 hours to 4 hours? And it's absolutely insane. One of the things that I think is pretty evident is the fact that he's just so much stronger than everybody, so that he's not taking as much damage as the person who's losing their wrist and they have to use all their side pressure and their redlining just to move him an inch. So being that the strength differential is so big, he's really not taking as much damage as the people who are going against him. So really, just in a general sense, if you wanted to train every day, I think it's possible to get stronger and train every day for arm wrestling, but the key is managing the intensity and the fatigue, that you're not absolutely killing yourself every session to where you're getting ripped open or you're just completely going full force. So it's a matter of managing the fatigue. So I do think it is possible to arm wrestle every day on the table and improve, but you have to pick your training partners wisely as far as who you're working with. So if you're working with someone who's a lot stronger than you and they're like just trying to rip you open and stuff, you can't do that every day. You can't redline effort every day. But if you are the stronger person, you can hold the weaker people, work on different angles, give up position, kind of like Devon does with everybody, to where he's just so much stronger, to where he's just not taking the same amount of fatigue and damage as everyone else. So not to mention supplementation and everything like that. Definitely a factor, the additional supplementation, but really incredible stuff. I'm really excited to see how Devon does against Skrdecka on the left pretty soon, and also against Vitali on the right in August. My arms are pretty brutalized, so basically just doing recovery for the next couple of days with light weights, letting everything recover. I know it's going to come back stronger. That's the cool thing about arm wrestling, kind of beat it down and then recover, and then hopefully those tendons are more solidified. Another thing I wanted to mention as far as the week of training was seeing Brian Shaw was super cool. He's definitely made improvements from what I've seen on video of him when he first started, and I haven't pulled with him. I did want to pull with him on the Sunday, but didn't get the opportunity, unfortunately. I'm sure I'll be able to grip up with him at some point in the future, but super cool to see him and Devon doing some sparring. Now, Devon pulled maybe, several people before he gripped up with Brian, and still was pretty much controlling him. I think a lot of it, he was acting and giving Brian a position, but not entirely. That's not to say that Brian does not have a significant amount of strength and his technique is improving. So I do think you can gather something from those practice pulls. If you haven't seen them on Brian Shaw's YouTube channel, definitely check those out. So it's definitely pretty clear that he is improving significantly with arm wrestling. So super cool. What an amazing week of training it was. I put up a lot of videos. If you haven't seen any of the footage, definitely check it out. What are you guys' thoughts on training every day? Is this something that you'd be able to do for arm wrestling? Last thing I want to mention is just a huge shout out to Alejandro, Austin, Texas arm wrestlers, having an awesome setup for training during this week with Devon. What an epic time. And hopefully there's more visits like this in the future, you know, not just Devon, but other high-level athletes. It's cool to see Devon's influence on growing the sport wherever he travels. You can see that when he travels somewhere, he definitely brings the crowd of people anywhere in the surrounding areas coming out to the practice. So that was super cool to see, a lot of big practices. And yeah, let me know what type of videos you guys want to see. A lot more coming soon.